Kuretake paints today, and yellow, brown and old mauve. And then I've got a brush, it's quite a large round brush, and I just want to paint this watercolor background. So just grabbing some water, grabbing the paint and dragging that color up and down, leaving some gaps so that I can move on to the old mauve and to add that colour onto the page, layering as I go. Once you've made sure that the paint is all over the page and you feel as though you've got in depth of colour, then you need to let your paint dry on the page. Once it's dried, I've grabbed the same colours that I had before, and I've got a smaller brush and I'm just dragging up these lines up and down the page just for a bit of interest, really, just because I wanted to do this and to see what it looks like. I think it looks a little bit like wood or something like that. So just adding that colour up and down and then reverting to the yellow brown to add some more colour layers on top. You'll need to let this layer dry, and once it's dried, then again using the same colours but using a flat brush, just twizzling the brush round to make these lovely circular patterns, alternating your colours as you go, using a smallish flat brush here, but it doesn't really matter what size you use. You might decide that you want to use something larger or something smaller. It doesn't really matter. Use what you think, and just putting these shapes down onto the page. Once you've put all your lovely shapes down, then you're going to need to let this layer dry and then grab some pens, whatever pens you want. I'm using a white paint pen here, and I'm just looking at the circles and just adding some patterns on top. You can either alternate patterns, or you could have completely separate patterns on each shape, or you might want to have the same patterns on each. It doesn't really matter, just go with whatever you think is good for you. I quite like the squiggly line patterns. As you can see, I've got that on 3 of these circles. Love doing that. And then I've got a gold felt tip pen here, outlining some of the shapes. It sort of tidies up the edges of your paint marks. I'm not the tidiest of painters, so sometimes I like to do this. Just neatens up all the edges and makes it look really, really tidy. I've got a gold gel pen here for a finer line, and just adding some lines onto some of these shapes. So it's quite nice to alternate the size of nib on your page. It just makes it look a little bit more interesting, your painting, with these embellishments on. So you might have a thick felt tip pen, but then you might want to go down to a fine line, whatever you think is good for you. But for looking at it, it is quite good to vary your nib sizes. Then swapping over to the white paint pen and adding some circles around the shapes again. And you can see here, it just makes it look a little bit different, doesn't it? Yeah, so just adding that around some of the circular shapes. Again, tidying up some of the paint marks and some of the pen marks there. Adding some little dots on top of that white paint pen. And then adding some little lines across these shapes here. So I hope you get to try this. As you can see, it's so easy to do. I hope you really like it. If you like it, maybe you'll consider liking and subscribing. Maybe you'll leave me a comment if you've got time. I would love to hear from you, just to hear whether you're going to try this. What kind of things have you been up to lately? I will come back to you as soon as I can. Adding some little circles here in between the lines, just for a little bit of detail. I think that looks kind of cute there, and I really like these flowers. I've done another video that's very similar to this with similar flowers, different colours, maybe different patterns on top, but they're just so easy to do. You don't have to worry about it that they are circles with patterns on, basically. So really easy to do. So I hope you get to try this because they're so fun. I love dots, little circles, so I'm just dotting on that gold gel pen, alternately putting on to that base, and then I'm just going to move on and do some more dots just on some of the other flowers, and then I've moved on to some of the gold felt tip and adding some more dots here. I think I've gone a little bit dotty, a little bit dotty mad. I've got some gold here and I'm just outlining my page just to make it have a lovely border there, and then continuing with the dots just because I love them. So I've heated up the tape, and unfortunately I've actually torn my picture there. I did heat it up, but I think this masking tape is particularly tacky. So what I will do is stick that down with a little bit of glue, and then you won't notice it at all. It'll just disappear. So you can see the detail here, and I think it's turned out quite well. I'm quite happy with how that's turned out. So thanks for spending time with me, and hope to see you again soon. Okay, bye.